Hello, this is Ben119 and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to carry on with the 8-day challenge in Pikmin 1. And we're up to day number 3. So in the last two parts we did day number 1 and day number 2. So we have 7 parts so far and we have unlocked the Forest Naval. And today we're going to be doing quite a lot of stuff. We're going to be getting 5 ship parts, we're going to be getting blue Pikmin, and we're going to be growing between 90 and 100 blue Pikmin. And we're going to do a few other things as well, like breaking down gates for this area when we return on day 6. It's day 5 when we return, sorry about that, little error. So we're going to get out all of our yellows and all of our reds. And there's a gate here near the base, and I like to put 5 yellows on this gate. Well, you can put 5, I put a few more, because yellows aren't as powerful as reds. Now usually you would put reds on there, but I actually lost quite a few reds on day 2, so I decided to just put a few yellows on there because we don't need as many yellows today. We only need 6 yellows with the route I'm running. Something else I want to mention, this route that I'm doing for day 3 is good and it does work for 8 day, but if you're doing a full speed run that's timed, I would recommend just checking out the 8-day tutorial by Strongman Lin. I'll link it in the description and it's basically really helpful, but the only problem is the day 3 is harder to do than this route here. It's basically the same route, but you get the beady longlegs part instead of the Ionian jet part, and it's slightly harder to do, and it's just, I wanted to just do this, and when I learn 8 day I'll learn the proper route. So what you want to do here is you want to kill all of these blowhogs, and this does take a little bit of time, and I decided not to take my yellows with me, I left them up there. And that's just because it's safer to do it with just reds. You can do it with yellows if you're really skilled and you are quick at whistling them off fire, or if you can kill them in one cycle like that. But if they get shaken off and they get set on fire, it can cause issues, and I just rather do it with reds because I'm more of a beginner. So you want to kill, I think it's these blowhogs. There's quite a few blowhogs on this beach, but you actually don't even need to kill all of them because some of them aren't in the way. You just want to kill 3 or 4 blowhogs. I usually kill 4. So there's a part here with the bread bug, and the bread bug is a bit random and basically chases after pellets. So if you see him grabbing a pellet, you want to throw a Pikmin on top of him, and then you want to throw 2 Pikmin on the pellet. And basically they'll take him back to base and they will kill him, and inside of the bread bug is a ship part, so that's obviously important. That blowhog, you may have seen there was a blowhog that was still alive, but that one's okay to leave because he doesn't really get in the way of anything. And also trying to kill him is really annoying because it can, there's like a wally hop near him that can jump at you, so I just decided to leave him. So once you kill all of these blowhogs, you want to get all the pellets that they drop, and you want to get all the blowhog bodies, and you want to carry them all to about this point here. You want to leave them all near the blue base. And you may be thinking, why are you doing this? This takes so much time to do. But at the same time, it actually makes the part later in the day a lot faster because we need to grow loads of blues. And if we leave all of these things next to the blue onion, we can grow a load of blues dead fast. So there we go, we got loads of dead blowhogs and we got loads of pellets, so we can grow a load of blues later. As you can see, the bread bug is still going. The reason we don't get the blue onion here is 1, because it's slower, and 2, if you get the blue onion now, it will disturb the bread bug Pikmin, because when you activate the onion cutscene, the Pikmin can let go of the pellet that the bread bug is carrying, and it just affects stuff, and it's just easier to do it later. So right now I'm just nectaring up some Pikmin because some of them got deflowered after fighting the blowhogs. So there we go. You want to head over to this part over here. So there is a bridge that you can knock down. Well, it's not a bridge you knock down, it's a bridge that you create. It's weird, these bridges, because they're not in Pikmin 3, they're in Pikmin 2 though. But I think these, with the Pikmin 3 you actually have physical bridges that you build with pieces, but in Pikmin 1 and 2 you have these kind of bridges. They're still pretty cool though. Over here is another place where you can get nectar if you do, for some reason, although your Pikmin get deflowered. It's really good for firing them back up. So what you want to do here is get your reds to work on the bridge, and then you want to get your yellows around here. And you want to get 6 bomb rocks. Now for the route I'm running, you only need 6 bomb rocks. For the, more pro 8-day route, you want to get, I think, 15 bomb rocks, because you want to bring 15 yellows around here instead. But that'll mean having less reds on the field, hence having to, kill the blowhogs with the yellows as well, which is difficult. So you want to work on this gate, and when this gate is done, we're going to pick up that ship part over there. with our reds, so we're just gonna put them over here. We want to get 25. I'm trying to get just the right amount. There we go, 25. So here it is, gravity jumper. I always forget what it's called, that one. I just call it the spring. So get your reds that you've got left, and you want to head like this direction over here. You can flower them up if you want. You don't really need to that much, but it's recommended because they'll keep up with you. And over here we're gonna head over to where the what is he called? Not the Wollihop. We're gonna lure the Wollihop now, but there is a puff stool over there, and the puff stool is actually a really easy mini boss. Casually it might be quite difficult, but it's actually really easy to kill him. So just run over to him, and you just want to throw a few Pikmin onto him, and then when he falls over you want to throw like all of your Pikmin on top of him, and just throw him as fast as you can, just like that, and he will die and drop the ship parts. So in the 8-day route we actually want to carry back his body as well, because we're going to leave that for the blue Pikmin, and with the rest of our reds we're going to carry the ship part. You could equal it out. I probably should have put a few more on the actual puff stool and put less on the ship part, but it doesn't really matter too much as long as they're both moving. Like, that's the important thing. Right here you want to whistle your yellows. I just left them over here so none of the bomb rocks blew up. And you just want to head over this way, head across the beach here. As you can see, it's got completely empty, there's no blowhogs, so later on when we return here we can have Pikmin carry parts through the beach without having them get set on fire, because usually you'd have like only reds doing it. So if you kill the puff stool and you get back to this point here, the spring should be about here in the route. So you want to take your Pikmin off it and then put them back on. And you may be thinking, why did I do that? That just looked really slow. But the reason why is because if you don't do that, they'll take the slower path round, because when they first started carrying it, that gate wasn't open, so the Pikmin think that the fastest route is still going all the way around, because the Pikmin AI is really dumb in this game and they have to be like reminded that there's a faster route open. So yeah, so we just got that part back. So we're going to collect the part from the bread bug now, and after that we're going to be farming a load of blues. And after we farm a load of blues we'll collect the last few parts, nectar up all our blues, and then end the day. So we don't actually do that much in this day. It's actually a fairly easy day. Like, I'm not even very good at day 3, I've only done it a few times. And with a little bit of practice I managed to get it, like, I think I practiced it 3 times and I got it twice. So that's how easy day 3 is, and the 8-day route is pretty consistent. But day 2 and 4 it took me quite a few tries to get, especially day 4 being the hardest day in the route, which is next episode, and I'm looking forward to commentating that because it's going to be interesting. So you want to leave the puff stool around there. You don't want to leave it like too close to all the other bodies because it'll be really awkward to grab. And once you do that, you just want to activate the blue onion. So while that's happening, you want to knock down these pellets so you're having things happening at once, and it'll be quicker to grow more blues. And obviously with all these bodies and the puff stool body, we can grow like loads of blues quickly. The puff stool body makes, I'm not sure how many it actually is, I think it's like 30 or 40 blues that it makes. So that's very important to get, because it makes this whole section really fast. So you want to get this pellet here, and while I'm getting this I'm just going to knock these down. There we go. Knock that down. So throw this blue over here. Knock this down. So this phase here is a little bit boring to watch, it's just growing blue Pikmin. So there's not really too much to say about this. But yeah, we're just going to grow some blues. You want to get to 10 blues because we need 10 to carry the, what's it called, the puff stool. And while the puff stool is going into the base, we're going to actually put away the other Pikmin on the field, so then we have loads of room for blues. Because we need to have all the blues out so we can next them up. Because obviously when they're nexted up they'll be faster, and for day 4 we're going to be using mostly blues, like all day. We're going to be using like 90 blues. And obviously if we have them all flowered up it will make the day a lot easier. And flowering them up on day 3 is so much easier because you can literally just start straight away on day 4. On day 4 you can actually flower them up at the start of that day, but obviously you lose a little bit of in-game time, and in-game time is pretty tight anyway for that day, so obviously doing it on day 3 on a less tight day is just easier, and it's way more beginner friendly. So we just got that part back. There is a trick you can do, which I didn't do at all in this, because this is, even though this is not beginner friendly, I wouldn't say this is aimed towards like experts or anything, because if you're an expert, you're going to be doing like, what's it called, when you skip the cutscenes. That was what I was going to talk about, cutscene skips. So, on the ship parts, you can actually skip the cutscenes of them going into the ship by, if you activate a text box at the same time as it enters the ship, it's like frame perfect to do. You can skip the cutscene and each one saves a few seconds, but I didn't do any in this run because they're hard to do. And I just didn't feel like I needed to show them off, because they're not really very beginner friendly, and if you're running 8-day it won't really affect you too much. You can maybe go for some of the easier ones that are more conveniently in your path, but if you miss them you end up losing time because you end up activating loads of text boxes and you don't even get the cutscene skip, so it just loses time. But if you're playing at a higher level and you're looking for time save, then cutscene skips are the way to go, I guess. So we're just putting all our Pikmin away now. The reason I put them away now is because if I had put them away earlier on, we would have loads of sprouts in the ground and I'd have to pluck all the blue Pikmin and it'd be really slow. So this is where all of these bodies and pallets come into play, so we're just going to carry all of these back with the blues, and we can make like loads of blues. Like if we didn't carry these back, we'd have to go all the way to the beach, we have to wait for them all to come back. But if we just leave it all here, we can just carry it all nice and fast. So there we go, this is really satisfying to watch. You probably could get out your reds and yellows again, but so we don't get sprouts, but I don't really mind getting sprouts because we have to wait for the blues anyway later on, because we're going to be carrying back some parts in a bit once we have our blues together. So there we go. If you can't get 100 by the end of the day, the bare minimum I think you need is like 90. So if you don't get 100, don't worry too much. But I end up getting 100 because I carried back an extra blowhog. I just wanted some spare Pikmin as well because I'm known for losing Pikmin, so I'd like to give myself leeway. So we have 19 blues over here, so we're going to be putting them onto this stick over here. So there we go, we actually don't have 19 with us, we just have 19 following us, so that's a bit inconvenient. So we're going to have to go back round and put some more on. At least we got it started off. So that part up there needs 15 Pikmin. You can actually get this with the reds and yellows where you're waiting for the puff stool, but I decided to just do it after with the blues because I guess it can be a little bit tight if you get a good puff stool, like carry. So there we go, it's going to get that pallet there for safety. And with the rest of our blues, we're going to get, I think it's called the Ionium Jet. All the parts have really weird names. This part here, if you do the BD Longlegs route, where you get BD Longlegs on this day, you actually don't need to get this part. But if you're doing like a more beginner friendly 8-day, like I'm doing here, this part is necessary because we need 12 parts to progress to Distant Spring. So that's like a reason why we got so many on day 2. It's just because we need 12 to get to Distant Spring, and getting to Distant Spring on day 4 is very important because if we get there on day 5, there will be 2 snitch bugs and there will be an extra blowhog, and all of those things can make the whole day a lot slower because the snitch bugs are random in this game and they can lose a lot of time and it's very RNG based. But running Distant Spring without the snitch bugs is a lot more consistent, and it just makes running 8-day a lot more bearable, and it makes it a lot more fun because the snitch bugs can be really annoying. So we got these 2 parts on the way back, so while they're on the way back we're just going to pluck all of these blue Pikmin, and once they get back we're just going to flower up all the Pikmin and end the day. So that's basically how you do day 3 in the 8-day route. It's a really interesting day in my opinion because you spend a lot of the day growing blues. I always thought this was really stupid because you could just go to Impact Site and just get one of the pearls and grow loads of blues that way. But obviously you'd be spending your 4th day in Impact Site instead of spending your 4th day in Distant Spring, so you wouldn't really be able to do Distant Spring early. So this does make sense even though it feels slow. But I guess it's cool. So we got all our blues, it's saying hurry up. It can be a little bit tight, as you can see I was a little bit tight on time here. If I did practice this day more and I got better at growing blues, I could probably finish this even with an extra tick of time left, but I didn't really practice it much for the 8-day run because I was more concerned about day 2 and day 4 not going well, so I decided to put more time into doing them. But this was an okay day 3, didn't have any really mistakes, it's completely fine to do this on day 3. Because we're still beating the game in 8 days and we didn't leave anything major. We're going to have to do a little bit more than we normally would on day 5 because we'll have to blow up some gates that we didn't do today. And there's obviously some parts left we have to get, but that should only take about half a Pikmin day to be honest. So there you go, we get a cutscene here. This cutscene just proves that we've unlocked the distant spring. And yeah, that's really cool. So we're just going to nectar these up. So there's a little bit of RNG here because there's like a nectar patch. So if this nectar patch doesn't give you any nectar, if you go down and then you go to your right, there's another nectar patch. And if that one doesn't give you nectar, there is like some honey wisps, and there's obviously a nectar patch on the beach you can get. So there you go, they're all flowered up. So we're going to end the day now, and that's how you do day 3. So if you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe if you're new around here. Also, check out day 4 when that releases.